Sound?
Standing by, and let's center up, and action.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Hollywood Reporters first ever roundtable at the Red Sea International Film Festival here in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, sponsored by NEOM. We have 6 great filmmakers here coming together despite a very, very busy festival schedule. I want to welcome over here Ali Alkalthami, the hometown hero, so to speak, here from Saudi Arabia. He has his movie Mandub in the competition. Welcome.
Thank you.
I also want to welcome Kaouther Ben Hania from Tunisia. 4 Daughters is her movie that you can see here at the festival. To my right, Baz Luhrmann, young up-and-coming filmmaker you might hear more about. He's the jury president here at the Red Sea Festival. To my left, we have somebody who just won the Marrakesh Award at the festival, in case you have not heard. Asmae El Moudir from Morocco, The Mother of All Lies is a film that you can also see here. We also have with us Amjad Rasheed from Jordan, Inshallah a Boy, his movie can be seen here. And last but certainly not least, Nell from Malaysia, Tiger Stripes is her competition entry. So we basically cover the world here, and you know I wanted to ask, one of the things that I always find interesting is all these people come together here at this film festival. Everybody has a different voice, everybody has a different experience. Can you maybe share with us how you first knew that you wanted to make movies and why you felt that calling so strongly?
I think it's a long journey for all of us, especially for me, because when I was young, I thought that I want to write novels. I love literature, and I was raised with books, reading all the time. So for me, in my surrounding family, there was nobody working on cinema. So it's like something for other people, not for us. So for me, it was writing and storytelling. And little by little, I discovered that I don't have a good style in writing, It's too complicated for me, but I love writing and imagination. So when I discovered amateur cinema in Tunis, it was like a revelation for me. This is something I want to do. So I love writing, and now I love writing with images. This is mainly the journey.
Wonderful.
Well, very close. It started when I was 10 years old, and my mother asked me...
So 5 years ago?
5 years ago, yeah. My mother asked me, parents always ask their kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? So I was like, I want to be a director. Which is funny, at that age I didn't know what director means, but I knew that I want to tell stories. We used to watch black and white movies for Fatin Hamama and Omar Sharif, Egyptian movies, and I was, these things like, I want this word, this is what I want to do, to tell stories. And maybe because sometimes I feel when I was a kid, people are not listening to me. So I felt the urge of, I want to communicate with people and to communicate visually with them. And I start like following my dream basically, and today I'm here.
Speaking of dreams, winning an award at Marrakesh, congratulations.
Yeah, it was a dream. It was a really dream when I was 10, I was watching the ceremony of closing in the TV, because it's always in direct. And then I go always in the table, and I told my father to give me the tea as like a winner. And it was the same thing for me. After 15 years, I just got the first Étoile d'Or from Morocco. So Moroccans were crazy that day, so it was really nice. And also I went culture because telling stories is a necessity. Becoming a filmmaker, it's not a job. I mean, we want to tell something from inside, and then we need form. I try to draw, but I cannot even draw apple. So writing with the light is better, yeah.
It's great.
Kind of different in Saudi, because I guess we didn't have cinema, so the aspiration to like be a filmmaker wasn't in the mindset, but stories always gravitated me. I guess my father used to be the storyteller of the tribe. So I always look at him when he's sitting with 50 men around our majlis, which is where you sit and he would tell stories that is entertaining, and I would just listen to him. And the whole like culture in Saudi is revolved around stories. Technically came in using the camera to tell a story, and that's kind of later on stage of my life, and the internet came, so I delve into, okay, translating that oral culture to how to do it right, how to take from the West experience. So it is there, but trying to experiment with mixing the two, you know, mixing that tradition of stories in Saudi and with the techniques of cinema. So that's kind of like how I began.
I think for me it was really genre cinema. It was horror films. When
Wow.
when I was a young kid, I remember going to sleepovers with my friends and forcing them to video record Texas Chainsaw Massacre at like 1 a.m. and then the parents would find out and they're like, you can't watch this. I'm like, why not? Like, I love this. So it started there, and of course, like, you know, being an Asian person, this is not a thing you do, right? Directing. And so I went to do graphic design for my degree because I always loved working in visuals. But to this day, I still don't know how to use Photoshop because I was just making short films, animations, like music videos, and so I was like, okay, like I have to do this. So yeah, that was how it started.
Nice.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about what's important about the movie you brought to the festival, and what does it say about, how does it exemplify your storytelling voice? You know, how does it encapsulate what you're doing and what you like to do?
I mean, yes, bringing films to the festivals, for me, it's like looking for audiences. When we change festival, we change the audience. Karlovy it's not Toronto. Toronto, it's gonna not be Ritzy. Ritzy is not Marrakesh. And then it's a very important that you just listen to the audience. We make film for the audience, I think. Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's been such a nice year to travel with the film, to do Q&As, to talk to the audience from like so many parts of the world, right? Like from US to Europe, and then also Southeast Asia. And to see, you know, the themes that I'm talking about. It's a very Malaysian film, and I know when I show it in Southeast Asia, the Southeast Asians are like, oh, we get it, we see this, but also to like show it in somewhere like Norway or even Cannes, you know, and people are like, I can relate to this character who is a young girl from Malaysia, like climbing trees and stuff. It's like, it's amazing that they can relate to it, and so I think that's been really special.
What are some of the universal themes that you think people connect with there?
Yeah, I mean, for Tiger Stripes, it's really about, it's for people who felt like they had to live up to society's expectations, or they felt like they were ashamed of their full selves, and it's to kind of push and fight for that, and to be proud of who you are and stand tall like a tiger.
Sounds nice.
Mandub is, I guess Mandub was very necessary because it talks about the present of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh more specifically, because I lived in Riyadh, the city, for 40 years, and I tell the story about this loner, this guy who delivers food around the city and get access to houses and people without being noticed. But at the same time, I want to do it as a thriller, you know, and a genre piece. And he drives at night and his lack of sleep and all of that. But at the same time, I think it's the marginalized character who is like in the center, at the attention of the film. I wanted to do that. I guess we live in this vast world of communication, but loneliness is still there, you know what I mean? So I wanted to shine light on that subject matter. So kind of that connects with people. I'm hoping, at least in Saudi, in Riyadh.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Well, for Inshallah Boy, it's a social thriller that it's exploring some human rights, like, if I can say that, because it's talking about specific laws in Jordan and in the Middle East and in the Arab world that some women might face will make some troubles for them to have their own rights, like a home or raising their own children, and in a society that will ask women to have a boy in order for these laws to be different, to change all the laws upside down. So, yes, I'm talking about very specific law in my country maybe, but I was also trying to echo it around to have like an echo around the world. And I noticed that when I was like, again, in Cannes, in Toronto, in Karlovy Vary, and wherever I screened the film, I felt like the connection, especially from women in the West and around the world, that they feel the character and they feel the struggle, but they also can reflect their own struggles in it. And this is very important for me, that it's not only about our area, it's about women's rights around the world. I feel like we still, like in the West, for example, women doesn't have same salary like men, for example. What I want to say that I believe none of us is free until we are all free. If a woman is struggling in the Middle East, and there is an illusion of a freedom in the West for women, until we are all free, nothing will change.
The stories of women, Kaouther, is something that you obviously have experienced.
No, I did a movie called The Man Who Sold His Skin. So everybody thinking I'm doing all my movies about women, which is true, but I have
One man.
one man in all of my women movies.
Great film.
Thank you. So about my last movie for daughters, it's a documentary. I did it. I worked on it like for 5 years, and I was thinking it's a small documentary, and then it went to Cannes in the main competition, and we all know that Cannes, they don't like documentary. It's not like
You have experience like this? Yeah.
So it's like, and especially in the main competition, because the last movie I think was Fahrenheit 9/11 of Michael Moore. So, so this year they took 2 documentaries. I said, yes, finally,
Progress.
it's the revenge of reality. So yeah, it was amazing. And the story, as you said, it's a woman's story. It's 4 daughters. And their mother, and in the movie, the real character, since it's a documentary, are directing actors to summon their past to understand it in a almost Brechtian theater. So it's a very, how to say, multi-layered device, and I was worried that nobody will understand. It's too complicated, you know, because you have actors playing absent daughters and the real daughters, and you have the mother, and you have another actor playing the mother when it's hard for her to. So it's like, I was like, nobody will understand this movie, and now I'm realizing, like all of you guys, that, I mean, I have the same feedbacks in Los Angeles, in Jakarta, as you say,
exactly.
in Tunis, here in Saudi Arabia. Yesterday we had the premiere here, so it's amazing. I mean, it's this is the why we all love cinema, because it's beyond culture, beyond. It can be about something very, very, how to say, in a small village or a small family, but it's and. There is another level, I mean, why we love cinema, especially me, because we feel empathy. And I think in our world today, we need a lot of empathy, because we live in such a cruel world where the word empathy, we have selective empathy, we have, that's why telling stories is so important, and propaganda understand it. That's why I think that every movie is important. I don't know who said that every movie is your own propaganda, and I believe in it because it translates your point of view. So that's why all our propagandas added together can give us a wider vision.
Well said. Guys, there's so many great stories to tell here in the region, right? And I thought before the festival, I wonder if some people might not travel to the region because of the conflict in another part of the Middle East going on. And then you were one of the people who said, I made a conscious decision to come. Tell us a little bit about what your thought process was and why you felt it was important to come at this time.
I think it's been said much more eloquently, much more to the point than I can say it just then, which is, in a cruel world, in a world of selective empathy, that the most important thing is to double down on storytelling. Because even if, and you've all mentioned, and I think this was a beautiful thing to hear, your desire to tell stories, because film is just one way of doing it. It can be theatre, it can be, you tried novel writing, it can be graphic work, but it came from childhood. It came from something in your childhood where you just had to get it out. And as you referred to it as your own personal propaganda, your own personal point of view. So I thought, just like has been articulated at the table, more than ever, it's not voices. I mean, where politics and mechanical solutions fail us, more than ever, the storytelling humanizes. It brings empathy, because you can talk about a situation, you can talk about it politically, you can go this and that, but that's
with statistic, which
which
is worse.
Yes, worse. But when you see, and I've seen some of the movies that some of you made, and I have not seen some of the movies that you made. I'm looking forward to them. But absolutely, they're human beings, and it doesn't matter whether it's Jordan or Casablanca, or the Daughters one. I'm fascinated by the way that you've mixed, and I hear what you say about documentaries, but in the end, I watch movies from 12 o'clock at day to 12 o'clock at night. I've been doing that every single day. Today I have 4 movies to watch. I've never done it before. But I haven't seen a movie that I haven't had an emotional response to the humanity, the people. They're people. And it doesn't matter who they are and where they're from. And that is so much more powerful than people getting around a table and yelling at each other, with some political agenda.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So I thought it was just not just important to do. I didn't think there was a choice to back out, because I thought, if not now, when?
Yeah, especially what's happening now in the Middle East. I mean, and all the coverage over it, it's more of a necessary for filmmakers to actually present more stories and tell their own voice and own narrative. Because you feel things are just misconstrued or like misrepresented, and it's your authentic voice that it's important now.
And by the way, where is the storytelling? Not the storytelling, because there's a word you call media, or the news. There's the World Wide Web, there's clickbait, there's la 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 la. And to a certain degree, that is storytelling. It's never the truth, it's somebody's truth. And unfortunately, somebody's truth is generally motivated now by a machine. I mean, there's a machine inside that World Wide Web that goes, if the clickbait goes like that,
and it's louder.
Wow, it's louder, right? So what I've really been reminded, and I'm not saying I'm retiring. I'm retiring.
We hope not. We hope not.
One more. But no, in all honesty, you're all young filmmakers, and I find it so uplifting. But I've been locked in a dark room, very, very cold in a good way, wearing a ski jacket in the hottest place in the world. But loving it, actually, loving it, because I've been looking at these movies so diverse, so different. Quite often, there's underlying thematics in them that are quite similar. And what I love about what you guys are doing so far, what I've seen, is that you're blending genres. So you're taking a serious issue that's very present, but you're also blending it with quite entertaining genre, and I think that's so smart. And back in my day, that's something I liked to do, but it wasn't really that well accepted. It was like, too much confetti. But just to put a nail in this, the difference between someone who's maybe, and I don't think it's documentary news, who's doing that, and it's sent up to an editor, and they go like, how do we get our station to get the most noise? Versus someone who spent 5 years with a family telling a story. Now, it's still going to be your point of view, but you've spent the time to dig in to the humanity of it.
But that's why when you were talking about media, I think that media installed something like amnesia, because it's so fast and
Yes,
so...
correct.
And that's why
Absolutely.
we need literature, that's why we need movies, because it's the memory of people, you know?
1,000%.
So it's very important to tell our stories.
Yeah.
It's like an obligation, almost.
People, yeah, I know.
On my shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
People say, where'd you get your information from? But it's not really information, because that stuff coming through the tube or through TV or on your phone like that,
It's becoming a show.
it's a show.
It's a business.
This is a gigantuan shift in what that mechanic used to be. That mechanic used to be people who used to go and report. Report meant gather the information, collect it to the best of your ability, present it without your presence. And now it's become, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. And that is a show. Well, if it's a show, call it a show. What I like about drama or dramatic documentary, with drama, you are saying, it's a big lie. I've just made this all up. I mean, I am telling a story, right? It's my story, but I'm telling the big lie to reveal a greater truth. As opposed to what I see coming, what we see when you say it's a big show, it's not only a big show, it's being presented as the truth. Oh, it's so upset. I mean, so
But you know
disturbing.
where does it come from? Because
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you
Yes,
know,
I
you
know.
are American, so
I'm not American.
No,
I'm
sorry.
Australian.
Yeah.
But actually, I might even be more complicit in that than you think. Because that revolution started actually, I mean, I don't want to put out on this table a clickbait that's going to overshadow the very important things that you're all saying. That's another subject, but I very much know where that started from. I'll tell you something. There's a great film that I love from the 1970s called Network.
I love this.
Isn't that great?
Oh
Isn't that
my
great?
God.
But you know
Everybody's
what,
seen it,
guys? It was a satire.
Yeah.
And you know, it's an Australian actor who posthumously won, Peter Finch. He won the award for Best Oscar. And the satire is, imagine a crazy world where there's conflict actually in the Middle East, it's in it, where there's an oil crisis, and the guy's just a newsreader, and he just reads the news, but he's old. You know, and it cotton, you know, he's got blah, 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 the news. I'm sorry, I have to get rid of you. You're too boring. We need someone cooler and hipper. And he goes mad, and he starts yelling, I'm as mad as I am. And they go, gee, that's entertaining. Why don't we make the
can
news
sell it.
entertaining? Let's make it entertainment. And this was hilarious and satirical, except today, it's real. And it's not funny.
He went viral in today's terms.
It absolutely went viral.
Yeah.
He went viral. And it's just, then it was a joke. Now it's just actually,
It's reality.
I
The
think
reality.
it's bordering on, if not an evil, one of the most destructive forces
I
on the
totally
planet.
agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the media person here is going to ask a question.
Can you be more entertaining?
I was curious because we talked. I found it great how you guys all talked about telling your own stories, and I think I picked this up from you as well, Baz. You learn so much. You see something, you say, "Oh, I wasn't aware of this part of the world. I wasn't aware of this thinking or of this cultural approach to things." I wanted to ask the reverse question. You know, like in Hollywood, you sometimes see movies and you see, you know, Muslims or you see people from the Middle East portrayed, and I sometimes wonder, do you ever watch any of these and go, what? Why? You know, is there anything that ever annoys you or where you say, this is so wrong or so off? Can you share any of this with us?
Yeah, I
maybe?
have a shock when I watched one of the. It's a wonderful movie. It's very well done, but when I watch it with my eyes from this region, it's Lawrence of Arabia. I was like, okay. Why the protagonist is a white man? Why we are talking about the Arabian Revolution in those terms? What did happen? What did the British in this region? How they promised the Arabs something and they went, they did another thing, and they was mad as hell. You know, like a network. I mean, it's a great movie. It had a lot of impact,
True.
and I was thinking
Yeah,
that maybe one day we should tell a story with the protagonist from the Arab Revolution, not the second character, because again, when you we all write story around this table. The complexity you give it to the protagonist, all the sides, you know, the conflict. When you do a secondary character, he have one aspect, you know. So when you are a marginalized character in your story, you have one side, you have the prejudgment, you have all those cliches thing. So this was.
Can I comment on that just because you happen to pick a film? But when I grew up in a very small country town in Australia, we had a gas station and a farm. But for a moment, we ran the local cinema through tragic circumstances. But my father ran the cinema. And one of the films that came there was Lawrence of Arabia. And I loved the film. I thought it was amazing. But I do want to get to the point you're making, because it's a very, very good point. I've just had recent experience of it. What was wonderful about it, it left me with this great love of this part of the world. Now, you're absolutely right, because the film's made in the 60s. There are worse things in that.
I know.
You didn't touch upon some of these, like Alec Guinness.
Because I love the movie.
I know.
That's why.
Alec Guinness is a great actor, but he plays King Faisal.
Yeah,
He's an English
this
actor
is-
playing King Faisal. Okay, you know where that's going. And Anthony Quinn is Mexican, and I mean, there's some of the worst makeup in cinema on it, right? But let's just hold it for a moment, because I think what you're really getting at, and by the way, I love your idea, and you should be the one to do it, because the Lawrence story is a fascinating one, because I think the gestalt in the movie is that in the end, Lawrence has a messianic complex. He falls in love with the place. The British and all of the West are going like, yeah, we'll look after you. We just want to get rid of the Ottomans. I mean, it's the Ottoman Empire. They get rid of the Ottomans, and Lawrence thinks he's become, an Arab leader, and he's mad. And he goes, right, I've been promised at the Arab League that you're all going to get a fair. It's going to be handed over really to the traditional owners of the land, and they're double crossed. And that leads directly to where we are today. So on that level, it's great. But I've just revisited a film I did called Australia, and I just have it on Disney Plus called Faraway Downs. And what I tried to do, whether I was successful or not, was take an old Gone with the Wind-like movie, like an old melodrama, but flip it and tell it from the point of view of a First Nations Indigenous child who were taken from their families because of mixed race and locked up in compounds. And it was totally destructive to the culture, the Indigenous culture. Now, I'm not saying I did it right, or I did it particularly well, and maybe I'm not the person to do it. But if Lawrence is a fascinating story, Seven Pillars of Wisdom, great. He had an amazing relationship with Ali. So where's the Ali version of? And he goes, and by the way, and Ali's alive, and Ali's that sidekick character, Lawrence, he really let me down. It's your jobs. You guys are around, you have the power to do it. Now, by the way, just saying this, I just saw amazing film studios down in Alula. Right, they're waiting for that version of this movie. So get to work.
Who's ready to make a Lawrence or Ali movie?
But flip it.
It's about Saudi Arabia, it's about my country. But at the same time, I feel like the challenges or the things that we face is putting all the Middle East in one thing, which is not. We're not. We're so different. We're like a lot different than. And at the same time, always presenting Saudi as the rich country or the extreme country, and it's not. It's our responsibility to say so. But I do humor a lot in my films. I think humor kind of diffuse tension and make your like story better if it's sensitive, if it's around things like that. So I think one of the challenges is breaking stereotypes around your culture. That's a preconceived notion that people have about it. But sometimes I ask my question: is it really important? Is it really necessary to think about that? Just to think about your story, and if you're honest to your story, that will be the truth, the near truth. You know what I mean?
Hey, Ali, can I ask a quick question? Because you bring something up, and it's probably, believe you me, it's not something that look, I'm just intrigued by this. Right? Because I absolutely agree. Like, what is going on in this region, and it's a region right now, right? People just, if you're not from anywhere around here, there's a huge generalization in the West of just sort of going like, it's one place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
And it's very annoying.
All right.
It's very annoying.
It's of course.
It's annoying, but do you think, and by the way, I'm not American.
So we do that too sometimes.
Stop, it's not that big a deal. I've gotten over it. But I actually live in Australia, in Paris, quite a lot, and we have a place in America too, New York.
Yeah.
So we get around. We're Australians, we travel. But do you think also that sometimes there's a generalization that America is just one big place?
Yeah.
Because people who live in Florida generally might be different from people who live in New York, might be different from people who live in Idaho.
Actually, it's very interesting because it's much easier not to understand the other and to generalize the idea of a stereotype, like all Arabs look the same, all Americans look the same, or they act the same,
or they think the same.
They think the same. And you know what, in Cannes, because this year we have like different Arab films, so there was like I don't know if it's a new sentence that people are using, Arab cinema, which is the music to my to my ears, because I have a film from Jordan, she has a film from Tunisia, she has a film from Morocco, he has a film from Saudi. It's like, yes, collectively we are Arabs, but it's a colorful, very colorful stories. She has her own way to tell a story from her own culture and background, which is, there is a common stuff between us, but it's totally different than Jordan, Tunisia, and I have my own type of storytelling and my own way to communicate a story with my own backgrounds, and I was trying to reflect my society through these stories. So what's so interesting with cinema that we are, yes, collectively maybe we are coming from the same region, but we have definitely different stories, which is, this is again magic of cinema.
I've seen some of the movies. I know that to be true. While some of the themes may be central, the diversity and the difference, it goes back to what you said in the beginning. As children, you were compelled to tell a story, growing up hearing your father, or wanting to draw a story, or, feeling isolated, whatever that was. Or the cinema, and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to hang on to that purity, really, our compulsion to tell them, and to keep the way we tell them, ours, and individual. And I do think, back to our friends, and we're talking about where the media is headed into a showmanship and a showbiz. It's really useful, the machine, and it really is the machine, gets good clickbait if it generalizes about the Middle East, if it generalizes about America. I mean, to be honest, I was in the Oscar run last year. It was won by Everything Everywhere All at Once. I loved the movie, right? It was an Asian American picture. When Parasite won Best Picture, amazing. I've got one expectation I will leave you all with. Please, before I retire, make sure that a film from the Arab region wins Best Picture. That is your job. Not just here.
Everybody's ready.
But at the Oscars. I'll see you guys at the Oscars.
All of us, no?
Yeah, sure, why not? By the way, that's the other really revolutionary, wonderful thing. It was the two Daniels. This thing of two directors, collaborative direction,
great.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. I'm going like, can anyone collaborate with me? Because I really can't just do it on my own.
It's nice to two of you.
I like the idea that films come from the childhood, the 6
They absolutely
years
do.
of Freud that talked about, and behind the naivety of things we can pass, the very hard things and the very traumatic things.
1000.
And that's why for me it's important to ask the first question, where are you in this film? I'm from Morocco. I'm sure I cannot make films about Tunisia because it's not my identity. But we are together, we were talking about Arab cinema. It's really important to talk about what happened in the 6 years, the first 6 years, because everything comes from the
It does. And you know what? You're kind of, because I can say this with great authority, because I'm the oldest, you can get lost Your language can get lost because success actually breeds all these sort of baubles and things. They're great. They're great. Oh, what do you know? You're going to go to a restaurant. Oh, you're going to that's great.
Oh my God, this is
and then
scary.
suddenly, once
Yeah,
you get that,
yeah.
you go like, I got to kind of maintain that. You know, and, how do I,
Yeah.
So you get lost. But that's all right. You can also then be reborn into that pure initial gesture, I believe. Having said that, let's move to next news. That was bad as hell.
Thank you, Baz, for joining us.
Guys, you keep talking. All right?
We'll send you
Keep
off.
talking, but more importantly,
Enjoy the
keep
movies.
telling stories.
Sure.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
So nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, I think we can do maybe another couple of rounds. You can see it when you guys talk about filmmaking. You guys are so passionate about your work, which is great. Because that alone already makes me go, oh, now I just want to see this movie more, right? Because I can see you guys put your heart and your soul in it. If you guys weren't making movies, what would you do for a living? Did you?
I don't know. Like raising cats.
Great choice.
This is very beautiful, almost poetic.
Almost poetic.
Like that.
I literally don't know like what else I could do. I mean, definitely something involved in storytelling, whether it's music or writing. I think I can't let that go. I love cinema because I can kind of combine visual with stories, and that's what really excites me. And there's so many people involved, so much collaboration that I love. I love working in cinema just because of that amount of collaboration and the minds that you work with, the stories that you're getting, even just from your own team to create this one thing is so magical and beautiful. So I don't know. If not for a film, I'll raise cats and live with cats.
I like this.
Yeah?
I like this.
You guys go work together.
The cat farm.
I love it. Can we get dogs?
Yes, of course.
Then we will fight.
To make sure.
Yeah, you're into.
Big place.
No, actually, I like the cat project, but
Oh, the project now.
Not real.
How do we finance it?
yeah.
There is the
But
idea.
I think I would be a chef.
Ooh.
Chef?
A chef, although I'm very bad with cooking because I can't follow a recipe. I like to be creative while doing.
But at the end,
things.
it's good.
It's bad. It's so
Okay.
bad.
So good cinema.
I think so.
I'd still check it out,
But I think if I follow a recipe, once I tried it, like to follow a recipe, it was good.
And you're gonna join them in the
I don't know. I will be psychiatre. What is psychiatre?
psychiatrist.
Yeah, because it's in here.
psychologist,
Yeah, it's in here. Like we are making films about trauma. Well, I mean, we are provoking things. We will not kill anyone, but finally, it's gonna be a therapy for someone. So if I have no money now for cinema. I just like spend money, but I get no money from cinema. Yeah, okay, all of you. But one day, if I really give up cinema, I will just start learning how to just listen to the people because this is the job. Yeah.
Interesting. Now I feel stupid with my answer.
No. Our job is that.
I guess I will be a teacher. Because that's.
You stole it from me. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
I don't think so. You are. For me, it's my retirement plan.
That was my first job. Then I tried.
Like you?
Yeah.
What did you teach?
Computer science.
Oh.
Yeah. But I was so awkward with it. Because I was too young and everybody in the school was older than me. So I had to like I had to like fake a character. I was acting with them just to get respect, you know what I mean?
Child genius.
Yeah. But I'll do that in drawing as well, because I love drawing. So I would do that.
Wow.
Yeah. And transforming knowledge is really great, you know? Because directors, what they do is mostly as well when they work with the team is talking about like knowledge, you know, you're passing your knowledge of the film and how it's communication. So I think that would be a good place to come back to, yeah?
Yeah, for me, I was thinking about teaching because I am.
Let's open a school together.
Let's not sad, guys.
That's our project.
We need to repeat our.
This is more serious stuff. And then we teach your cats and dogs.
If you have problems, you can come.
We'll do this. No, but I think that teaching is, I mean, I was inspired by teacher when I was young. They give me something very precious that added to my personality. And I always remember them with a lot of affection because they made me a better person. So I thought that if I'll not do cinema, I want to play this role in people's life. What to teach, I don't know. Maybe literature, because I love literature. And it's always about storytelling. It's about how to see the world. But this is my retirement plan.
I like it.
Let's think about that project, though.
Yeah,
It's a good
sure.
project to have, yeah.
Well, as the final question, I want to, you know, one of the things I noticed as a journalist, you always think, oh, we know what people are interested in. And then, you know, a few years ago, at the end of a conversation, I said to somebody, by the way, what's important to you that we didn't talk about? And the guy said, I want to say the whales to be saved. I said, oh, okay. And then we talked about that for a few minutes. So now I sometimes end by saying to people, you know, what didn't I ask you about that's important to you that you would like to talk about just because it's something that you spend time or energy with or something that's close to your heart and you never get a chance to talk about it because you always have to talk about the movies. If it's nothing, we can just...
We are really happy to have all of us with the films. Achieving a film, it's not easy. I mean, yeah.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, it's for me, it was 10 years working with my family. I cannot tell that I hate them now because there is camera. but I hate to watch my film today because it was very traumatic to finish film as not as a woman or as a man. It's the same. I think the process how making film is difficult. So if someone just can arrive to achieve something and achieve films to show it to the international level, to arrive to get selected by the country representing their countries for the Oscars, it's a really nice. And I hope that one of I mean, I'm so sorry, but I will talk about Arab films. I'm coming from Arab country, so I hope that one of us just have something. If there is someone, it will be Kaouther because she did a lot.
Thinking, thank you. No, but I had, like, you said something not about our films.
Oh, it can be, it's fine.
So
if
I
you want
have
to...
this nihilist thing. I'm sorry, guys, but sometimes when I see what is happening, you know, right now in Gaza, I think that why we are doing all this, you know, it's about ending the life of people. We are talking about life. So I get in this nihilist path where nothing looks to me important, you know. We will die all. This planet will perish. Nothing will stay. I'm sorry to put it this way, but this is my mood those days. So I'm trying to smile. I'm trying to present the movie, talking, but it's very hard, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about this.
I understand.
But it's something very difficult, you know.
Yeah.
So
we live in a tough time, but hanging to your films and to keep telling stories is really important.
I totally agree. Yeah, like in a time like this, it's like, you know, we were talking about it earlier on, but stories is the way to hopefully, you know, kind of bring people together. The sad thing is that, like, we need to keep fighting for audience to watch these stories. That's the problem, because this clickbait, like, crap is taking over, and it's like, I'd love to have more people in the cinema watching stories from everywhere, from all our mini propagandas, personal propagandas, because that's, I don't know, it helps me a lot, you know, and it helps people who actually do listen to stories, like listen to people, listen to others, and not the loud voice that's dominating everything.
Yeah, and it's our duty to have, through all the violence and stuff, to actually own our narrative, you know, own our narrative, because there is so much stories and misleading stuff and lies spread around. It's very valid for us and important for us to keep telling these stories, because that's a duty, I guess. But that's it. That's what I'm.
Should we leave it at that?
Thank you.
Thank
you. Thank you for having
Thanks for
us.
having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much.